So, very good morning, dear all. So, in the last class, we started with gas chromatography. Okay. So, last class, what we saw, I'll just give a small recap of what we have seen in the last class. So, the chromatography comes, the name was coined by Michael Tesfuet in 1903. Basically, he was doing pigment separation for photosynthesis. That's why it was called chromo. Chromo means color. So chromatography means writing with colors. Okay, so that's the meaning of the word chromatography. So there were many pioneers in the field of chromatography. So basic idea of a chromatography is that it has two important parts. One is a mobile phase, second one is a stationary phase. Mobile phase is the one which moves, stationary phase is the one, as the name insists, it is stationary. So basically this technique is used for separation of a mixture. This technique is used for separation of a mixture. So whenever you have a mixture of compounds, the mixture of compounds is carried via the mobile phase into the stationary phase. Inside the stationary phase, the mixture interacts with the region according to its particular nature. According to the nature of the substance, according to the nature of the sample gets absorbed to different levels across the stationary medium. Okay, so now the primary factor is the adsorption. So whichever has the least adsorption will be leaving the column first, whichever has the maximum adsorption will leave the column last. To facilitate adsorption, we use temperature. So we saw that temperature is indirectly proportional to adsorption. So as you increase the temperature, adsorption decreases. Okay, that's the reason we use temperature as a critical factor. Okay, just a second. Okay, and we also saw that by using temperature we'll able to do the thing. And when I mean by gas chromatography, essentially it means that okay, that I will ask you as a question. What do you mean by gas chromatography? Why it is called gas chromatography? When I tell gas chromatography, what this gas term indicates? Gas is the mobile phase. Good. Okay, gas is the mobile phase. Now my second question is, if you want to carry a sample via a gas mobile phase, what should be the state of the sample? If I want to carry a sample, gas is going to be the mobile phase, so it is going to carry the sample via your stationary phase. So if it has to carry the stationary, I mean your sample என்ன ஸ்டேட்டில் இருக்கணும்? நம்ம மொபைல் ஃபேஸ் வந்து கேஸ். ஸோ கேஸ் வந்து சாம்பிளை எடுத்துன்னு போகணும். அப்படி எடுத்துன்னு போகணுன்னா சாம்பிள் என்ன ஃபேஸில் இருக்கணும்? கேஸாக இருக்கலாமா, லிக்விடாக இருக்கலாமா, சாலிடாக இருக்கலாமா? நம்ம சாம்பிள் என்ன ஸ்டேஜில் இருக்கணும், என்ன ஃபேஸில் இருக்கணும்? கேஸாக இருக்கலாமா, லிக்விடாக இருக்கலாமா, சாலிடாக இருக்கலாமா? தூக்கின்னு போகிறது கேஸ். ஓகே, சாலிட் ஆர் கேஸ். ஸோ இட் இஸ் கேஸ். The sample is evaporated and converted into gaseous state, and then it is carried away by your mobile phase. So mobile phase என்ன ஸ்டேட்டில் இருக்கோ அந்த ஸ்டேட்டில் தான் இருக்கும். ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் லிக்விட் ஸ்டேட்டாக இருந்தால் மேபி யுவர் சாம்பிள் மேபி லிக்விட் ஆர் செமி சாலிட், இட்ஸ் பாசிபிள். பட் ஆஸ் ஃபார் அஸ் gas is concerned, your sample should be in gaseous state. Your sample should be in gas state. Fine. Okay, we'll start from this point. So last class we have seen the basic mechanics of gas chromatography. In this class we'll actually start with the instrumentation required for gas chromatography. The instrumentation that is required. Okay, so from our previous discussion, can you tell what are the components that are required for gas chromatography? So maybe I'll just give a empty blocks, you try to fill in. Okay, I'm actually just putting 4 blocks. Okay, can you identify what is A block, B block, C block and D block? We can just put a connection like this. Okay, based on our earlier discussion, can you say what should be the A part? Okay, D is a detector, very good. Fine, D is the detector, excellent. D is the actual part of your detector. Okay, what is A, what is B, what is C? You can think of it. What could be A, what could be B, what could be C? Just type it in the chat window. So எங்க நமக்கு actually தனித்தனியா separate ஆகுது? Where it is getting separated? Where it is getting separated? C can be any heating device. Okay, fine. So that is one suggestion. C can be a heating device. Some more suggestions I require. What can be A, what can be B? Come on students, you have to tell. What can be the A part? Okay, so which is the mobile phase? Santosh பதில் கொடுத்திருக்காரு, அதை பார்த்து எல்லாரும் காப்பி பண்ணுங்க. Santosh has given the answer, just copy and paste that answer. Okay, I want all the students to type in A, ionization chamber. Why do you require an ionization here? You don't require an ionization. We are not ionizing it, we're just vaporizing the sample. Balamurugan, solid or gas? Okay, Muthuprabha, C is a column, very good. C is a column, very good. Okay, so what is B? What is B? C column is correct. C is a heating device is also correct. D is a detector, so Muthuprabha is correct. Also Santosh is correct. Okay, what do you mean by gas carrier? Okay, gas is the carrier. Okay, okay, Ganesh, sample injector. A is the sample. Okay, B is a blocker. Oh, B block, gas carrier. Okay, maybe. Okay, Muthuprabha again says that sample is B. Okay, good. Ganesh, yes, engan eduthinga sample injector. Okay, I'll just tell you the answers. A is the gas. A is the gas or the carrier gas. A is the carrier gas. Exactly, many have identified to some extent. Okay, A is the carrier gas which will be available in cylinders. We'll see in detail about that later. So A is a gas cylinder, okay, which is going to provide the gas. It is fitted with a flow meter, okay, and rate controller. It has a flow meter and a rate controller. Okay, so that that output leads to the B. In B we have the very important part, as Ganesh told, it is sample injector. Sample injector, here the sample is injected. Okay, so the sample is injected as well as it is evaporated, vaporized, and it flows into the column. C is column, as Muthuprabha told. C is the column. Okay, a very important feature of this column is it is kept in an, as Santosh told, it is kept in an heating device, a thermos oven. Okay, a thermostat. It is kept inside a thermostat. So that means that the column is temperature controlled. The column is temperature controlled. And finally, output of the column, you're going to have a detector, as Santosh told. Okay, so the first column is a gas carrier, which is nothing but a gas supply, which is a cylinder. Okay, which is a cylinder with flow controller as well as flow rate indicator. And output of this gas supply leads to the sample injection part, where the sample is injected, evaporated, and it is made way to move through the next important block, namely the column, which is called as a chromatographic column. The entire column is controlled with a thermostat, that is, it is a temperature controlled. Already we have seen what is the importance of temperature. Okay, so as we vary the temperature, your adsorption is going to vary. Fine. So, and the last part of your instrument part is the detector. Okay, so we'll touch one by one all these parts. So first we'll concentrate on gas carrier. Okay, or the carrier gas. Okay, so carrier gas is the one which is going to carry your sample mixture. To be most perfect, it is going to carry your sample mixture. Fine. Now what should be the nature of the carrier gas? ஸோ உங்களை வந்து ஒரு வண்டி கூட்டுன்னு போகுது. நீங்கள் ஒரு ஊருக்கு போகிறீங்க, உங்களை ஒரு வண்டி கூட்டுன்னு போகுது, சரியா? அதான் கேரியர் கேஸ். அந்த வண்டியோட தன்மைகள் என்னவாக இருக்கணும்? நீங்கள் ஒரு கார் புக் பண்ணுறீங்க வெளியூர் போகிறதுக்கு. ஸோ வாட் ஆர் யுவர் எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன்ஸ்? Cost. Okay, good. Cost is one factor. Quality. Okay, then cost, quality, some more answers. Safety. Okay, should not be reactive. Exactly, because your safety is at most important, no? ஸோ அங்கே இருக்கிற அந்த டிரைவரே உங்களை அடித்தாருன்னு வச்சிங்க. ஓகே, சேஃப்டி, அதான் சேஃப்டின்னு கணேஷன் சொல்லியிருந்தார். சேஃப்டி இந்த ஆஸ்பெக்ட் ஆஃப் ரோடு ஆக்சிடெண்ட் ஆகாமல் சேஃபாக போகணும். த பர்சன் ஷுட் நாட் பி ரியாக்டிவ். ஓகே, ஸோ டைம் டு ரீச், நான் அப்சார்ப்டிவிட்டி, வெரி குட், நான் அப்சார்ப்டிவிட்டி, எக்ஸலண்ட். Okay, so that are the factors. Excellent. We enumerated all the factors. So one or two points we have not left. I'll just touch upon it. Inertness. Okay, cost is a factor, but as far as these type of analytical instruments is concerned, more than the cost, its accuracy, its sensitivity of the method. Okay, so that matters most. Cost is also a factor. Okay, I'll just touch upon it also. Okay, it should be inert, it should not react. As Kanchana told, it should not react. Okay, it should not react with the sample. That is the first and foremost importance. It should be inert. Second thing, almost you have touched upon, this aspect you should not have not touched. It should be dry. It should be dry. Okay, that's what I mean Santosh has told, non-absorptivity, no? So that meaning is it should be dry. When it is wet, it is adsorbed, water will be adsorbed. Okay, so it has to be dry. It should be free from things. Okay, so it should be dry. That's the second aspect. Third aspect you didn't touch upon, maybe quality. Okay, Ganesh told quality. In that aspect we can just put purity of the gas. Purity of the gas is another aspect. Purity of the gas. Can you think of what should be the ultra pure gas? We have two category of purity. One is ultra purity and is a normal purity. Can you just give a rough value? What should be the value of ultra purity in terms of percentage? Just a value, just a guess. Ultra pure na evlo value irukanum, normal pure na evlo value irukanum? Just give a guess. Just give a guess. what should be the percentage for ultra purity. Okay, Ganesh is giving for ultra purity, Santosh is giving 80%. Okay, okay. Some more answers. Some more answers. Okay, 90%. This is for ultra pure. Kanchana. Ultra is 90, purity is 60. Muthuprabha is okay. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Aripriyam. Muthuprabha, Kanchana, Naveen. Okay, good. But I'll give you a very interesting thing. Purity is 99.995% and ultra purity is 99.999%. Quite interesting, no? See, ultra purity is 99.999 up to the fourth decimal point percentage, and purity, what it is, 99.995%. That's what is meant by purity. Okay, so this is a measure that is used in industry. Okay, fine. So the important nature is it should be inert, it should be dry, it should be pure. Okay, so the choice of elements for gases. So we have four basic choices. I can just put it as first one is nitrogen, second one is hydrogen, third one is helium, fourth one is argon. Okay, these are the four choices of materials for carrier gases. Okay, if you take nitrogen, the main advantage is it is cheap, as initial told by Ganesh. It is cheap, it is safe, okay, and it is available in the required purity. It is available with the required basic purity. It is available with the purity. Okay, but only disadvantage of nitrogen is it has long run time. It takes more time to run through the column. Long run time. That is case of nitrogen. Similarly, your argon also is cheap, safe. It is also pure version is available easily. But the problem is it cannot be used with all types of detectors. Only specific detectors can be used with argon. For example, a detector called electron capture detector. We'll see the detectors last. So electron capture detector is a type of detector which is used for gas chromatography. Okay, so this type of detector can only be used for argon. Okay, so that it is restricted to only specific detectors. This is restricted. This has a problem. Nitrogen has a problem of long run times. Okay, so the better option in the industry is hydrogen. The most preferred choice is hydrogen. Hydrogen is comparatively cheap. Purity is not that much assured you, but current standards, actually the standard that is available in the market is hydrogen 5.0. Compared to that, you have newer version of hydrogen. Okay, that is having more purity. Okay, but it is somewhat in between. Okay, so you have hydro 5.0. okay, it's the current standard. But the main problem associated with hydrogen is, can anyone tell what is the main problem with hydrogen? Main problem, what do you think with hydrogen? Any guess? Not safe. Okay, almost correct. Basically it reacts with almost many samples. can be explosive, but under the conditions of gas chromatography normally it will not be like that, but it reacts with many samples. Okay, so the inertness is the one that restricts hydrogen. Okay, but it is the most preferred choice for carrier gas. Okay, hydrogen. And the third one is helium. Helium has a compromise between nitrogen and nitrogen. It comes somewhat in between. Also in hydrogen, I forgot to mention, it has small runtime. Runtime is very less. Okay, runtime is very less, small runtimes. Helium is something between nitrogen and nitrogen. It is something in between nitrogen and nitrogen. Okay, it is comparatively it's safe. It has a good runtime. Okay, it is inert. It does not react. Okay, but everything comes with a price, right? This is highly expensive. Helium is highly expensive. Helium is highly expensive. That is the main problem with helium. Okay, so most preferred is hydrogen. So if you see the order of preference, first is hydrogen, then we have helium, then you have nitrogen, then you have argon. This is the trend in the industry. Okay, so most preferred is hydrogen, even though it is inert, so it can be used fine. And then helium, then comes nitrogen, then comes argon. This is the order of the gases that is particularly suited for our chromatography. Okay, and these gases are stored in cylinders. These gases are stored in cylinders. Okay, so you need to control. Okay, you need to control the flow. So you have flow controllers and flow rate indicators. Flow rate indicators. Okay, you have flow controllers or flow rate indicators. Can you suggest an instrument to measure the flow rate? Can you people suggest an instrument to measure flow rate? Just type it in the chat window. What is the instrument used to measure flow rate? Instrument to measure flow rate of gases or liquids that is available in our process control lab also. Flow, yeah, of course, I want what is the name of the flow meter. Give me the name of the flow meter, not flow meter. Mass flow meter. Okay, that is a working principle of flow meter. Quantity flow meter, mass flow meter. Okay, orifice is a name. I want something like this. Orifice meter. Good. Then orifice meter is a type of flow meter. Excellent. Then some more flow meters. Some more flow meters. Orifice meter. Then so orifice actually comes under variable area flow meters. You have variable edge flow meters. You have vortex flow meters. Okay, so have you heard of rotameter? So rotameter is the flow meter that is employed in a gas chromatography pressurized cylinder. Okay, this is your carrier gas for GC. Okay, you have a rotameter which is employed. Okay, why we have to control the flow rate of your gas? That's my next question. Why we have to control the flow rate? Actually, I have addressed the question in the last class itself. What is the necessary to control the flow rate of a carrier gas? What is the necessary to control the flow rate of a carrier gas? Okay, for adsorption. Okay, can you be more precise? Of course, the entire column is going to be done for adsorption only. What happens if the flow rate is increased? I'll just put a diagrammatic representation. Suppose a sample mixture flows to the column and I get something like this. Okay, I get 3 peaks for 3 components that are present in this one. Okay, now I have 2 scenarios when the flow rate is very low. I'll just take I have a very low flow rate, okay. So what are these peaks actually? These peaks are retention time. I'll use a yellow color. Retention time. Okay, so this has a less retention time, so it came fast. B has comparatively more retention time, so B came second. C has highest retention time, so it came last. Okay, so this factor is a retention time from the time the fluid enters into the column till it comes to the detector. So that is called as retention time. Now for a low flow rate, what happens? If the flow rate is high, okay, less absorption takes place. Good. Santosh has given the correct answer. You can also put it as inversely proportional. Excellent. Okay, so what happens here is, if it is a low flow rate, literally, okay, so it will actually retard your absorption. It will take more time to run. So typically your output will be slow. Okay, it will come somewhat in between here. Okay, this is low flow rate. And another interesting factor is because the flow rate is very low, okay, the flow is actually pushing your sample to pass. Okay, so what happens is that, see this peak, instead of this peak, your band gets widened. Okay, see, the band is getting widened. Okay, so you have to maintain an optimum flow rate. If the flow rate is very less, the band is getting widened. That is another factor. Band is getting widened also. And if it is having a high flow rate, okay, if it is having a high flow rate on the rivers, what will happen is everything will go very fast. If the flow rate is very high, everything will come very fast. It will be very difficult to differentiate between the 3 components. Whether it is A, whether it is B or C, it will be very difficult to differentiate. Okay, it will be very fast unless you use a very high resolution detector. If you use a very high resolution detector, then it is possible to detect. But otherwise, for a normal detector, if the flow rate is very high, it will not be possible to identify the individual components. So the flow rate has to be controlled at the optimum level. The flow rate has to be in an optimal level so that it is free of any of these problems. Okay, so this particular thing I told you, the widening of the output, this actually is connected with a factor called column efficiency. How efficient your column is able to separate individual components with a good peak, that's called as a column efficiency. So column efficiency decreases when your flow rate is high or low. Particularly if it is low, okay, your column efficiency decreases, so your flow rate has to be in optimal state. Fine. And also, this is the carrier gas that is going to take away your sample. Okay, so it should also be free of, as I told, it should be free, it should be dry. Okay, it should be dry, it should be free of hydrocarbons. Okay, so to facilitate this, you have something called as a filter. It's called as a molecular sieve. Molecular sieve, which is going to tap out any water that is present. It is going to tap out any hydrocarbons that are present. Okay, and last we require another filter. This is one filter which is called as a molecular sieve, which removes the water as well as the hydrocarbons. Second filter you require to remove any oxygen that is present. You require an oxygen to be removed. Okay, so that is done by a special kind of filter called BTS catalyst. It's a special type of filter called BTS catalyst, which is going to filter out any oxygen that is present. Okay, so the gas that comes from the cylinder will be having a flow rate controller as a flow rate indication. Okay, it will be passed through two filters. One is a molecular sieve which removes any water or hydrocarbon that is present. Second one is the oxygen. You require a special kind of filter called BTS catalyst, which will filter out any oxygen that is present. This moves on to your second part, namely the sample injection system. Okay, which moves on to the second part, namely the sample injection system. So before we proceed further, so I have a small quiz for you. Just a minute. Are you able to see this particular thing? ஒரு crossword puzzle தெரியுதா எல்லாருக்கும்? Okay, good. Can you get me the answers? You have a crossword puzzle here, which is based on the content we have so far seen. Can you get me the answers? One is gas. One is gas. One is stationary. Okay, one is stationary. Excellent. That's correct answer. One is stationary. One is stationary. That's perfect. So one I'll just use one is stationary. One is stationary. Thank you, Sandosh. 4 is helium. For Ganesh is also giving 4 is helium. What is 4? Excellent. 4 is helium. Correct answer. Helium. Good. Okay, some more answers. 3 is argon. Muthuprabha and Sandosh. Good. 3 is argon. Okay, good. 3 is argon is also correct. Okay, so what is 2, 5 and 6? 2 is eluent or okay, 2 is elevate. What is 2 actually? 2 is okay, fluid entering the column. Good, Punshrinidhi, it is eluent. Okay, and 5 is sorry, 2 is elevate, eluent. Okay, elevate. Did I tell that way? Elevate. Okay, eluent. Eluent is 2. 5 is elevate, which leaves the thing is called as elevate. Okay, and what is 6? Almost you have got it correct. 6, as Sandosh told, it is mobile phase. Excellent. So sits is mobile. Okay, sits is mobile. So face which carries sample is the mobile face. Okay, so face which carries your sample is the mobile face. Face which remains constant is a stationary face. The fluid that is entering is called eluent. The fluid that leaves is called eluvate. Expensive carrier gas is helium. A carrier gas that can be used for selective detectors is argon. Excellent.
சார் நேத்து மாத்தி சொன்னீங்க சார் எலிவேட்டர் வந்து.
நான் மாற்றி சொல்லிட்டேனா?
எஸ் சார், அதான் சார் நானும் மாத்தி அனுப்பிட்டேன்.
சரி, ஓகே ஓகே ஓகே. இல்லை, ஓகே. Thank you. Fine. Okay, so that's a small crossword puzzle for you to relax for 5 minutes. Okay, so the next part, so first we have finished the A part. This part we have completed. We have completed this particular part, namely what is the choice for carrier gas, what are the different types of carrier gases that are present, which to be we have seen the characteristic of it, what are the components are associated with gas. Okay, now we move on to the second part, namely the okay, B part, which is the injection system. Okay, so the injection system is actually called as split or splitless injection port. Split or splitless injection port. Split or splitless injection port. Okay, so this is the port that is going to facilitate injection of your sample, and it is going to convert that into a vapor, and this is passed on to the column. Okay, so that action is facilitated by the split or splitless injection port. Okay, how this port basically looks like, I'll just draw a diagram of it. Okay, so here we have a septum, so we can just put it as septum. This is a septum port. Okay, so all the way here you have something called as a liner. This is the part you have called it as a liner. Okay, so here we'll have carrier gas entry. Okay, so your carrier gas enters. I'll just put an arrow. Your carrier gas enters. Sorry. So this is your liner. I'll just put it here. This is your carrier gas. Also we require another thing. Here we have something called as you'll have a valve. This is called as split valve. It's called as split valve. So the flow that comes out of your split valve is called as split stream. The flow that comes out of your split valves is called a split stream, and this actually goes to your actual column. So when your carrier gas comes this way, a small portion will move through this septum, a remaining portion will flow here. It also has a provision, it can it can come over here and it can flow through the part of it can flow through this split valve, a part of it can flow through the column. These are the provisions. Okay, so this septum is like a rubber kind of thing. So in the septathula da actually enna பண்ணுவாங்கனா, you'll make an injection as typical injector, you know, injection, right? So here you have the sample. The sample you can think of a injection kind of thing. It is injected into this part. Here it will be injected. Your sample will be injected at this point. Your sample will be injected. This is your carrier gas. So a small part will go through the septum port. A major part will go through the actual liner. This is the actual liner. And a small part, it also has a provision to enter via the split valve. Okay. So the details of all these things we'll see it in the next class, because if I start now it will not be possible to complete this particular thing. So you have two things. One is a split and splitless operation. Basically what is split operation and splitless operation is, if it is split operation, this valve is open. If it is split operation, the split valve is open. That is called the split injector. If the split valve is closed, it's called a splitless. Splitna enna renda piriyirudhu. So idu open ஆயிடுச்சுனா என்ன ஆகும், இங்கேயும் liquid போகும், இது வழியாவும் போகும். So it is called splitting the liquid. Okay, so it is split injection. இதை க்ளோஸ் பண்ணி வச்சுட்டோன்னு வச்சுங்க, இப்போ இது வழியாக லிக்விட் எதுவுமே வெளில போகாது. Then everything will go via the column itself. That's called a splitless injection. So you have a split injection as well as a splitless injection of the sample. Two ways of doing the thing. Why we require the two things? What is happening in a split injection? What is happening in a splitless injection? Okay, how it is going to affect your efficiency of your column? All these aspects we'll touch upon in the next class. Okay, so in this class we have actually worked upon two aspects of your block diagram. So we saw the complete block diagram of gas chromatography. We saw the important parts of your gas chromatography, namely the carrier gas supply, the sample injection system, then you have the column inside a thermostat and the detector. We saw what is the nature of the carrier gas. Then we saw about what are the choices for carrier gases, and we also saw that what is the effect of the flow rate. So why it is necessary to measure give the optimal flow rate in your carrier gas. And we saw about the different types of filters that are employed, which will eventually lead into your second part, namely the split and splitless injector. Okay, so we'll start next class from this point. So thank you all. Meet you guys tomorrow. Thank you.